Mezzo-soprano Laurie Rubin at home in Oahu, indulging her sweet tooth for contemporary pop.
Shouldn't buy you flowers.
The guilty pleasure of a rising opera star.
Now my baby's dancing.
Born blind with a voice that inspired her vision.
It didn't really occur to me that I was that different than other kids, and I just have to remind people, all I can't do is see. There's that, great joke that, nobody gets out of this life alive. But, it's true, nobody gets out of this life unscathed.
Can you take me with you?
Laurie appeared the perfect little sister in the hands of her brother Brian, who was more protective of Laurie than she could possibly know. A happy little girl blissfully unaware of her future.
Where are you going?
A life that began with unimaginable uncertainty, says her mother Lily.
I remember it like it was yesterday.
Laurie Rubin gave birth to Laurie 35 years ago in Los Angeles. A doctor informing her and Laurie's dad that the retinas in Laurie's eyes had never developed.
And I said, "Are you telling us that Laurie is blind?" And he said, "Yes." And driving home, both of us weeping terribly in the car, just devastated that our perfect child wasn't perfect.
She says she pictured Laurie walking among the blind, commonly seen outside the Braille Institute, here on the Los Angeles street corner of Vermont and Marathon.
I think of the people I see standing in front of the Braille Institute, waiting for a bus, and I didn't want to picture her life like that, being lonely and not seeing the beautiful world around her. So within that week, we went out and bought a van, and we said, we're going to take her everywhere.
Old home movies show Laurie on whitewater rafting trips with her family. Then, to their amazement, when she insisted on learning how to snow ski blind. A feat today she modestly sums up as the blind courage of youth.
It's so funny. I feel, and I think this is just part of being older, but when you're a kid, you don't think about how things could kill you.
At the age of 4, Laurie met American pop icon Kenny Loggins of Footloose fame when her mother bumped into Loggins at a supermarket, telling him Laurie had a crush on him.
He sort of became my official teacher of Music 101.
Loggins mentored Laurie for 8 years, having her sing backup vocals at 12 in 1991 for his song, If You Believe.
If you believe in me, I will.
One of the things that I was trying to reconcile with was, I had all these wonderful people in my life, like my family and family friends, telling me how great I was. And then I had these kids in school showing me otherwise. I was the only blind kid at my school. I felt really isolated. A lot of the other kids didn't know how to deal with me.
Kids at the elementary school would put paper clips in her potato chips, so she was afraid to eat because she didn't know what was in her food. Kids would pinch her.
And later, when other girls Laurie's age began to date, one of them, a close family friend, told Laurie she'd never know romance.
You'll live with your parents your whole life, you won't ever have a job, you won't have romance, because how can you expect to be in a relationship with somebody that's always going to have to take care of you? And so much about romance is being able to see the moonlight, and you look into each other's eyes, and it's that beautiful moment, and you're never going to have that, and all these things I'm never going to have. And I was crushed.
Laurie tells me around the age of 12 came a seminal moment that would save her from a life of loneliness. When her mom took her to a performance of The Phantom of the Opera.
I think when I knew that I wanted to sing this kind of music was when Christine gets up there and she sings Think of Me. Classical music was really where I found myself.
Years of voice lessons and recitals would pay off.
And the winner is
Laurie Rubin.
In 1996, Laurie's singing talents earned her the prestigious Music Center Spotlight Award in Los Angeles at the age of 18. Then triumphantly proving she could sing blind on stage as Cinderella in the opera La Cenerentola at Oberlin College. A step closer to her dream of singing at New York's Metropolitan Opera House. But says she was then blindsided when not allowed to perform as a graduate opera student at Yale.
I get to Yale and they say that I can't be in any of the operas 2 years in a row. And
told in so many words by her director that she'd distract other students or might possibly even fall off the stage.
If I were to give a master class for directors, I'd say just be open, you know, just be open to different things, different possibilities.
One such possibility happened in New York in 2006. When Laurie was cast in the lead role of a small chamber opera called The Ratland. She plays a girl tormented by her dysfunctional family, hallucinating that her parents have become rats. The Ratland's composer, Gordon Bieferman, its director, Beth Greenberg, and librettist Charlotte Jackson saw Laurie's blindness as a strength.
For me, it's not that important, actually, that we have to convince people that she's not blind. What we have to convince people is that she's playing that character, and that they get it and that feel for her.
I just think that Laurie's a really special performer, and she has a great voice.
It's her voice that fans are drawn to at her celebrated solo appearances around the world, like this one recently in Honolulu. One of Laurie's biggest supporters, fellow mezzo-soprano and 6-time Grammy-nominated opera great Frederica Flicka von Stade.
The voice is very unusual because of what she can do with it. It's an absolutely beautiful instrument. Funny Broadway songs.
I'm lost in my Jane Austen when I hear.
The switch between pop and her own songs.
Laurie's producing a quirky new pop album about the obstacles she's overcome in life and on stage.
I walked out feeling certain I had gotten the part, but then I got the call that nearly broke my heart. You need a nose job, they said. You should get a nose job.
Her song, Nose Job, has been a hit with local high school students confronted by their own personal dramas. The song's message, Laurie says, love who you are.
I won't get a nose job, I say. I won't get a nose job. Please don't get a nose job.
Don't get a nose job.
Oh, thank you.
Laurie also recently published a memoir about her life called Do You Dream in Color? Insights from a Girl Without Sight. Insights from a girl who would find romance in the end. Her longtime partner, musician and composer Jenny Tyra of Oahu. The two met as graduate students during Laurie's difficult years at Yale. Ever since, composing and writing music together and everything else. The two giving back to today's performing arts students every summer on Oahu through their acclaimed music festival and arts program called Ohana Arts. In between her own performances, Laurie also, through touch and instinct, designs stunning handmade custom jewelry pieces selling online around the world to clients ordering via email. Emails electronically read back to Laurie through a computer-programmed voice that keeps her connected.
Thanks again, Laurie.
Another example, she says, of her independence as a person who just happens to be blind.
I have this amazing life now, and it's nothing like what people anticipated for me. And so you always, I think, have to be your best self. Always think of who you want to be. Everything happens for a reason. My path was carved for me, and you know, I have to just embrace it. I never thought that I'd be living in Hawaii doing what I'm doing, and I never thought that I'd be writing a pop album, you know? Happy birthday, dear Laurie.
The title track of her new album, The Girl I Am, an ode to making it in life against all odds.
If anyone should knock you down and take your dreams away, just get right up and stand up tall, and this is what you say. Don't tell me.
People just have to recognize that she's just like anyone else, and even sighted people fall off stages, and she's never fallen off a stage.
She's the girl I am.
The girl her mom and dad always dreamed of.
My skin is made of steel, and you can't make me bleed. Because I love the girl I am. Because I love the girl I am. The carpet of grass under our feet was yesterday's snow.